lounging, son.
Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Lounge Podcast, guys. I am your host, the mighty Dilbide, and with me, as always, the ever so loving, blue-eyed, green-eyed, brown-eyed. We'll never get this.
Blue and green, it changes depending on my mood.
Blue,
I'm like, it's like mood eyes, you know?
Yeah.
They're
Right.
green when I'm angry. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show
Okay. But anyway, today for the podcast, we'll be talking about one of my personal favorites, the all-new Wolverine by Tom Taylor.
I have the different cover. I got the other one. I had to go with the classic.
I pick up anything Kubert. I saw that.
I
Kubert
can
had a
respect
variant.
that. I can respect that.
You know, I honestly think that anybody with a Kubert name can draw a Wolverine, and I would love it. Like Andy, Adam.
Yeah.
Emma Kubert's Wolverine is great too, but
I wonder what Joe. Did we ever see a Joe Kubert Wolverine? He never drew it at all, right? Like a pinup.
I think he did covers. I think Joe Kubert did covers. Let me look it up. That's actually a good question.
Because that would be cool to see every era of Kubert having at least drawn an image, right? That'd be dope.
Yeah, I don't think Papa Joe really did any Wolverines.
Oh well. Okay. Well. Anyways,
disappointing.
We love the Kuberts, but
yeah.
Today we're talking Tom Taylor, all new Wolverine, the sole writer on this massive tomb of over 31 or over 35 of the regular issues, and then there is
Generations.
I know that. Is there an annual in here somewhere?
Yeah, there's an annual.
Okay.
And Generations, Wolverine and all new Wolverine,
Okay,
which was the best Generations out of all the Generations.
I didn't read any of the Generations issues. That is the only one that I have read. I think there's a Thor one, but I don't think that I never got it. So I don't know if it's good or not. But that was one of my favorite issues in this book for sure.
Yeah.
But there's a slew of artists. I don't really want to waste the entire fucking conversation reading the credits. But, David Lopez, Marcio Takara, Nick Varela, I.G. Guara, Leonard Kirk.
Scott Hanna.
Yeah, Juan Cabal, Ramon Rosales. I mean, just Nathan Fairbairn. There's just so many people. If I've left the name out, my bad. But, I mean, I kind of just want to get into this conversation. Usually you and I don't really do episodes where we're, like, talking about a run. I think I've done that. I did a couple episodes with Mario where we just, we were hanging out. We had like conversation about Brubaker's Cap. I think we talked about Jason Aaron's Thor. I feel like no. That was just a creator spotlight on Jason Aaron. So we talked about other stuff. But you had been recommending this to me for God knows how long.
Mario too. Like me and
Mario jumped into it, but you were recommending it to me long before I even knew Mario. You were telling me like you have to check this out. And then Mario jumped in when I think we were recording the Spawn Volume 1 episode, and then you guys kind of started talking about it. So I had read the trade, and I think I talked about this probably a few times on some of the episodes. I read Volume 1 from work, and I loved it. And I was like, immediately, I think I wasn't even done with the trade, and I was already looking up, do they have a complete collection? Because we didn't have Volume 2 and 3. So I was looking, right? And I mean, dude, it's crazy. Literally, as I looked, Tom Taylor had just tweeted out Omnibus coming soon. And I was like, Are you fucking shit? Like I was like, couldn't believe it. Immediately went into work the next day, put in the order for the fucking Omnibus. Let me tell you, it felt like an eternity waiting to fucking
I felt like as soon as he got like the okay to announce it, he was like, all right, I'm telling everybody.
Yeah, because, and it was almost a year. I waited, and then it's not a cheap book, so I was sitting at the shop for probably a month and a half before I actually picked it up. And I had it at home. I don't even think I read it that first week because, with our weekly reads, our graphic novels, like just trying to I didn't want to space this out. I read this shit not in one sitting. But I didn't read anything else while reading this book. And I was just so blown away. I told you how much I loved it. I think I messaged you. I screenshotted a picture of Gabby with her, with the fucking background where all these famous Wolverine covers, like, and it's her as head of
I
Honey
love
Badger.
Gabby.
So, I wanted to talk about it with you, and I think that this is kind of a cool way to, we're not just talking about a specific volume, not just or specific arc, a specific issue, just the overall run, and the entire omnibus, and it's a hefty boy, dude. It is jam packed with fucking amazing stories. There's not a lot of bonus features, which I was hoping there would be more, but we do have like all the variant covers in the back, which is I always like seeing those because sometimes I can't afford to buy those covers. So it's nice to be able to at least look at them. And anyways, they'd be in my short box anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't have it on the wall anyway, so now I can pull it off the shelf.
There's only one variant. Like, I have random issues of this and random number ones of this, but like there's only one issue that I'm hunting down right now, and that's the DMX hip hop variant.
That's the only cover I want out of the variants. I want all of the hip hop covers, and
I have a good chunk. I have a good chunk of all the hip hop covers. I even have the super high expensive ones. Like I had the Miles Morales Spider-Man one.
Oh, that one.
The Illmatic. And it's crazy because it spiked in value as soon as Illmatic went into the National Library.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. You told me. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. It's crazy, too, how covers, like, they were cover price. Yeah. We easily could have just bought all of those covers when they came out, would not have had to spend a fucking penny over cover price. And now, going back, it's impossible. Nick was like, why don't you just get the book that has all the covers? I'm like,
it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's about the hunt, dude. And I'm going to hunt these motherfuckers down. DMX, that's one of my favorite hip-hop albums. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me,
I'm Blood on My Blood. That shit is so raw.
I'm going for the albums that are the covers of my favorite albums. Then I'll go back and get the other ones, because
same thing with Ant-Man and Ready to Die. Like I liked it because it was Ready to Die. I bought it at cover price, and then now it's like, Raw is going for like $80. Like what?
I know it's nuts. Anyways, but we're always going off on tangents. But I want to say first off, and then I'll let you kind of like talk about it because I know that you have been loving this for a super long time. But I just have to say thank you again for pestering me in a nice way to read this fucking book because it's not often that I will pick up an omnibus having not read more than 6 issues out of it. But when you recommended it to me, like I knew you've never steered me wrong when you've steered me towards the book, and I'm so glad you did it because this is it's one of my favorite series now. One of my favorite runs.
It's something special. It's something special, and a lot of that has to do with Laura and Gabby. Let's just start it off. The beginning of the book. It's the beginning of the series. Tom Taylor really pulls at the heartstrings. That's his MO. That's his MO. And how he does it in a way. Okay, we're longtime Wolverine fans, you and I.
Yeah.
So we understand the kind of person the kind of person that people have turned Wolverine into. Wolverine has become this kind of symbol of like lonely samurai, and then but over the years, in the early 2010s, like they began to transform him. Jason Aaron and Wolverine and the X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Force, like Remender, Jason Aaron, they were turning Wolverine into this crazy, wonderful father figure, right?
Yeah,
kind of like very protective. He still had that Wolverine, cigar in the mouth, bub attitude. But when it came to his kid, when it came to Laura, he became something that like father figure Wolverine is like one of the best Wolverines ever written.
Yeah.
And it's prominent here because you don't really get to see a lot of Logan, but you see the effects Logan had on Laura, and it carries on into her, right?
Because as of this time, he's dead. This is like post. I hated that death of Wolverine when he's just encased in fucking adamantium, just like
and his adamantium chrysalis.
Yeah, that was just Oh man, I still am salty about that, but whatever.
I'm so salty about the return of Wolverine. I'm salty about that whole thing.
I gave up on it after issue 1. I'm like, Fire Claws, I'm cool. I'm not doing this shit, dude. You guys gotta miss me with all this bullshit you're about to fucking show me.
I tried. The hunt for Wolverine was good.
I never read that.
Everybody was just looking because everybody was just looking for him. I thought that was cool. Like he broke out of the cocoon, and then everyone was like, "Where the hell is he?"
The cocoon. The Wolverine
and then like
cocoon.
everybody, yeah. I call it the adamantium chrysalis.
Yeah. Good name.
And so everybody was just like looking for him, like all sorts of teams, like even Iron Man was looking for him. I thought that was great. But then like when it happened, I was like, no.
I know.
They should have just waited. They should have just waited till freaking Hickman's run to like bring him back. But anyway.
Oh, for sure.
Anyway. Yeah. So we start off with Laura, right? And she's like in the rain. She's chasing someone, and like there's all sorts of stuff going on, and like she wakes. It starts off with the past, and it's an interaction with Wolverine while they were in the X-Force. It looked like she just took a bazooka to the gut, and she's pissed at herself, and it's a father moment.
This is where I fell in love. This is where I fell in love with the book. By the way, this is where I went online. This is where I went online, and I was like, they have to have a complete collection. It didn't. What is that? 6 pages? Fucking 6 pages in, and I'm like,
yeah.
God damn you, Tom Taylor. This is you talk about his MO as pulling on the heartstrings. His MO for me is within 6 pages of me reading a fucking book by him. I know that I love it, and I know that I want all of it moving forward, and I will never take it off my pull. He did it with Nightwing. He did it with Superman, Son of Kal-El. He's did it with this. I mean, dude, just everything this guy writes, there's just something about his writing to where I keep saying it, and I'm gonna say it because I don't know if anybody's listened to me say it before, is that he inherently knows how to write these characters. It's like when he's given the book and when we read it, it's like it just feels right. It feels like he was meant to write that character. And how is it possible that no matter which character he's given, he feels like he was meant to write it? Like as a reader, that's what I feel. Yeah. Like when I read Injustice, every single fucking character in there felt like the best version of that character. Even evil Superman. So with this moment, like this that bottom panel of what you said, the father-daughter moment, right? Like that line, best there is at what you do, but that doesn't mean you have to do it. Boom! I was like, oh my God. God damn you, Tom Taylor. God damn you.
Yeah.
So good.
And what I love about Tom Taylor is exactly what you said, but he also understands the symbolism. He also understands the costume. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like he also understands the symbolism and the costume and what it means to people. So immediately it flashes to more present day Laura, and she's chasing someone in Paris up the Eiffel Tower, right? And she has a coat on, and then whoever she's I forget who she's talking to, but they're saying, "Hey, are you okay? Like everyone just saw you fall off the building. It's fine." And then she says, "It's okay," and she takes off her coat. I want them to see the Wolverine coming.
This was one of those times where I didn't mind. Like they made Thor Jane Foster, right? It didn't bother me at all. They made Laura Wolverine. I'm like, fuck, nobody else should have been Wolverine. I didn't want Dakin to be him. Dakin was he was like all the bad parts of Wolverine and a lot less of the good, right? Like that's kind of how I've always felt about him. So Laura getting the costume, it just felt right. I like that they went with the smaller I don't know what to call that. The fucking blue part of the costume. You know how Wolverine gets really big sometimes, depending on who draws him. I like that they went with the smaller version, kind of like his first appearance, except without there's no whiskers, which I've always thought those were stupid as fuck. I can't. I still I look at those and I'm like, what were they thinking, dude, with these whiskers on his face?
There's a lot of questionable Wolverine costumes.
Brown and tan all day though. Brown and tan is the best.
Brown and tan. Like everyone to ask me why you like the brown and tan so much. Like I personally don't like the two colors, but it's like if you understand the history of Wolverine and understand the body count that he has in that costume,
it's the best. It's the best. It's the best costume. Best costume.
It is, and it's the most applicable in live action. Like I don't know how I'd feel about blue and yellow in a live action, right? But
I
like,
don't think I
brown and
can handle
yellow,
that. Yeah.
yeah, brown and yellow, I could do that. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, so this starts off, and she's like chasing off this assassin, and like, they're having a fight, and she falls off the building, and it sets off this series of things that lead Laura down this path of becoming the new Wolverine, right?
Mhm.
And I forget, I think Senya asks like, why do they have to put Laura through so much crap? Because if you understand Laura's history all the way down to NYX and all that stuff, and like her whole her whole ordeal of being X-23 and being the clone of Wolverine, like she's been through a lot of shit. And the best explanation you can have for it is because she's a Wolverine, and to
Yeah.
be a Wolverine, you have to suffer.
Yeah.
Right? You have to suffer because Wolverine is honestly. His past is fucking sad.
I know. What character can you say has gone through so much? I mean, he's obviously caused a lot of horrendous shit to other people, right? But like, just what he's been put through, and like, I mean,
It
for the
doesn't
longest,
justify it, but it doesn't justify any of the bad things
right?
he's done. But it's like, but also it's such a sad fucking story. Like even when Joe Quesada and when Joe Quesada like put out Origin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were upset that they gave an Origin. Me personally, I kind of teeter both ways. Where
We should do an episode on Origin.
we should do an episode on Origin.
Yeah.
I kind of teeter both ways with Origin because it's like, yes, we finally get an explanation, but also having no explanation adds to the mystery of Wolverine. Right.
I wish we didn't have the Origin.
Yeah.
I lean more that, not to say that series was bad, but
I love that series.
with him not having an origin, right? Like any past could be his past, because somebody could be like, "Oh, you did that," but then that could just be like they're lying to. Like you don't know what's real and what's not real from his past, because this fucker's mind has been fucked with so many times, and that mystery really added something to him as a character that I feel like sometimes has kind of, I don't want to say has diminished him as a character, because like I love Wolverine. I know that I fuck with you, and I'm like, I like Cyclops better. I like them the same. I mean, to be honest with you, I except in Schism, I was on Wolverine's side or Cyclops' side. But that's besides the point. But like I think that there's something to be said about that. The mystery of him and not knowing his past, because once you did it, you couldn't put it back in the bottle. You know what I mean? Like you didn't know is he related to Sabretooth? Is Sabretooth like, you never knew all this stuff, right? So like everybody could speculate, and that was kind of the fun aspect of talking about Wolverine and being a fan of the character. Yeah, I think that Laura doesn't have, like you said, she's been through some horrendous shit, but there's no mystery there. Like we know her past, and like I didn't know a lot about her past, right? Like I knew some of it, but I wasn't like a huge fan of her. Like not like you. I didn't know as much of the stuff, and
honestly, I read a lot of stuff with Laura, right? But the thing is, I didn't become a fan until this run.
Okay, so you read the Tamaki stuff, and you read the Marjorie Liu stuff also.
Yeah. I read the I read the Tamaki stuff. I don't think I read the Marjorie Liu stuff. Was Marjorie Liu stuff the most recent, like during X-Men Red, or was that Tamaki?
I think that was Tamaki. I think Marjorie Liu preceded Tom Taylor.
Okay, Marjorie I didn't read. I didn't read Marjorie Liu. I definitely read Tamaki, but this is the one that made me a fan. This is why I picked up Tamaki. It sets her off on this path of discovery, and like come to find out that the person that she was chasing all along was a clone of her. So now she finds herself in a very Wolverine situation, right? Because there's been a lot of moments and a lot of issues and a lot of stories where people are trying to recreate the perfect weapon. And that's exactly what they did with Laura. Laura is the almost perfect recreation of Logan. So now Logan's dead. So what do they have? What do they have to go by? They're trying to recreate Laura. and this sets her off on like one of the most Wolverine based stories ever. You know, and what better way to do that than with clones, right?
Yeah.
You know, Wolverine clones were the only kind of clones I never had an issue with because it fit his story. Whereas Spider-Man clones were just like.
I think that what I really loved, and especially in the first arc, and then I think we should get into some of the other arcs, but you know, like Laura is not Logan, and we see that multiple times. Like she doesn't immediately fucking rush in. Like Wolverine will just be like, I just start slashing the motherfuckers. She stops and she kind of like surveys the situation, right? Like she was an assassin in the past, and I like that there's moments with Doctor Strange. There's moments with Wasp, and
with Angel,
young Angel from when the original 5 X-Men came back. It's all, you know, time travel shenanigans, but and I wasn't reading X-Men at that point, so I knew that she was kind of with Angel, but even that's like, it's such a weird like relationship, but it worked for me in this. I thought, you know, before I read this, I thought it was really weird, but I was cool with it after this. But I like that she, you know, she feels this obligation to protect her quote unquote sisters, right? Because they're her. Essentially, they are her. It's not. It's weird to me because like Logan calls her his daughter, calls Laura his daughter, and I still don't fully know like how she was brought in because she has a mom, right? So she's a clone, but she was birthed naturally.
Birthed naturally.
Okay. So you know that's the difference, right? Is like these were actually grown in fucking tubes, and these fucking girls have been put through some shit too. Like they're fucking scarred.
And the crazy thing about them is they have no pain receptors.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're over here talking about pain and like, you know, why did they have to go through so much? These girls can't even feel it, like physical pain, and that's a crazy element to add to like a Wolverine mythos, right? Like, damn, like he's invincible and he doesn't feel any pain. Oh man.
That for sure was a crazy aspect. But I love, you know, at the end of it all, like, you know, Gabby is kind of with her now, and she feels this need to protect her. You know, there's a Squirrel Girl fucking story that I thought was really funny.
The babysitter.
Yeah. That shit was.
When Squirrel Girl started singing, Squirrel Girl, Wolverine, did you hear it like Spider-Man?
Yeah.
It's the greatest team up you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's exactly how I read it. Yeah, but yeah, like there's, you know, like you have a team up with Spider-Gwen in here. I thought that was cool. Eventually, Old Man Logan comes into the picture. This is post Secret Wars. You don't really need to have read it. You don't really need to know that, which I kind of like. I like that you could read this and they give you enough to know why he's around. Why is this old version of Logan here? That part when he's there, right? Like Laura Gabby has done something in his future to where he wants to fucking kill her. He goes into berserker rage, which, you know, Wolverine is known to do, man. And he sees red and he just fucking goes to town on whoever. I liked that. I liked that arc too. This is evil Cap. Again, like, you need to have some sort of context, I guess, to the overall Marvel universe at this period to know why Cap acts like a fucking just a douchebag. And he did. He was written very douchey in this fucking story. And it's because he was like Hydra Cap and fucking what is it, Cosmic Cube shenanigans. Like, it's just so much. That's the only if I could say there's one thing about this entire omnibus that I didn't care for, it was only that we had to deal with the outside Marvel stuff that kind of was injected into this. But other than that, like, I thought it was very well done. You know?
I want to talk about Gabby for a bit because Gabby's my favorite part of this whole thing.
Gabby's my favorite. Well, and Laura, I love them both.
Gabby and Laura. But like, you know, Gabby, there's this innocence to Gabby, right? Right, like, you know, because we're finally seeing a Wolverine in a different part of her life, right? Where she's still a child, where she still holds this kind of innocence, right? Like, you know, usually Like, Laura, even when she was a child, it was just shit. For Wolverine, we already got him as a full ass adult. Like, like even during Origin, like it goes from him discovering the claws from being like a preteen, and it jumps forward to him being like an adult already, right? So we're getting this version of Wolverine that we don't usually get to see, and what we get to, and how Tom Taylor portrays it is like this super childlike innocence, but there's also this deep killer understanding, right?
Yeah.
Like like deep killer murderer understanding. Like she knows exactly what she is, and it's just the craziest stuff. Like her interactions with Jonathan, which is one of my favorite things. I fucking love Jonathan.
Jonathan the Wolverine. The actual
Jonathan the
Wolverine.
The actual Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like her love for it is like, that's the childlike innocence that I like. But then her interactions with Deadpool, it's like, you understand why Deadpool's her best friend.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. I love that interaction.
And just throughout this entire run, she has like really fantastic friggin' interactions with people that kind of like make Gabby her own character. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And it's really, really skillfully done. And I'm sad that we don't have more Gabby right now.
Yeah, same here, dude. I think that it's a shame because like Tom Taylor it's created such a great character, and her getting her own identity as Honey Badger, being named that by Dakin, which was really cool.
Yeah,
I love her costume. In the Enemy of the State kind of part 2, right?
Yeah.
Like similar to when Wolverine was brainwashed by was it the Hand? I think it was the Hand, and he's killed fucking. I don't know if he killed a bunch of SHIELD agents. I feel like.
Yeah.
I read it not that long ago, but whatever. So like, we see that something similar is going to happen to fucking Laura, but it's also way different, right? And we kind of meet some of Laura's her relatives, right? Her aunt and shit. And then, moving forward, I like that, Dakin makes his fucking appearance in the book. I didn't like the character for a while. Like there's points where like I just did not care for him, but this book kind of warmed me up to him. Also, some of the stuff that's currently going on in the X line, also.
Yeah,
but
he's great in X Factor.
Yeah,
he's great in X Factor. I really like him in X Factor. He's good.
And I will say there's one arc in here I do not care for, and that was with the Brood. That wasn't my favorite story. That kind of story fell a little flat for me. But I still would grade this Omnibus, this entire run, as a 9. I won't say it's a 10 just because of that specific arc where I'm just like, that was just a little bit of a misstep.
Right.
A little bit of. I know I'm being nitpicky, but I still think that this is by far one of the best Marvel runs, at least in the last 20 years, for sure. Like, I don't see how anybody could argue that. And the final arc, I think it's the final arc, right? With all the, like, Sabretooth is there, Old Man Logan, Dakin. That's, like, where Deadpool and Gabby do the most interaction, right? I think it's when they're being hunted, where they have to create the Muramasa to defeat that blade, right? And they take so like the Muramasa blade, for anybody that doesn't know, was created to be able to kill Wolverine, and it is imbued with part of his fucking soul.
His anger, the angry part of his soul.
Yeah,
like the rage.
So for them to be able to defeat it, they go to Muramasa, and we get. I love this part, dude. We get Dakin, Gabby, and Laura, parts of their soul.
Yeah.
Create this shield, and it's just. I think this is my favorite arcs were the very first one, and then I think the very last one in the book. And there's also great moments.
I also like the where the alien virus one where they're the cure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where they're the cure for the alien virus, and it's like they for all their lives they're like machines for killing, and that's all of them. That's Wolverine, that's Laura, that's Gabby, Old Man Logan,
about that. Yeah,
Dakin, and Deadpool. Like they're all like machines that like just steady killers, but then like I forget what, something crashes into New York, and then a virus spreads, and they end up being the cure. All they have to do is walk and touch people. It was like it was a very like
Deadpool's like he runs in, he's like, take my healing touch, and then he kisses. I mean, dude, Tom Taylor needs a Deadpool book, please. I know he's doing what he's doing over there at DC, but maybe when you finish your runs, Marvel, hit him up, give him a Deadpool miniseries even. Look, I still want to see more Deadpool Gabby team up book. That would be cool too. I'm here for.
Yeah, go ahead. Like I love Gabby and Deadpool so much. Like they're so funny, bro. even the gift that Gabby gives her, he opens it. It's like, it's a finger. Yeah, it's mine. It's my middle finger. It's like, you get me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great comics, dude.
This is great comic books. Like even down to the future of Laura and Gabby.
That's the final issue of the series, right? That's the one you're talking about? Yeah, that's a fucking phenomenal issue, dude. Phenomenal.
Yeah, we even see what happens to Jonathan. Talking Jonathan.
Yeah.
And and Kamala Khan, we see what happens to Kamala Khan. Like, Tom Taylor really he writes great stuff, man. And like this is for any fan of Wolverine, or even if you're not a fan of Wolverine, this is just fantastic storytelling. And this is kind of what solidified my kind of stan-ishness with Tom Taylor.
Yeah,
is this Wolverine? I mean, look, he's had plenty of fantastic runs. I mean, Deceased was fantastic.
Right. Injustice,
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. He knocks it out of the park every time. Nightwing is going on to be freaking phenomenal. Superman, Son of Kal-El is going on to be phenomenal. But it all started here for me. All new Wolverine.
I mean, I would have been a fan of his work long before I became a fan if I would have read this when it first came out.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
even in X-Men Red, I loved X-Men Red. X-Men Red was so freaking good. I was like the only X-Men run that I was like, it was only 12 issues, but it was like one of those ones where I was just like, they gave Jean Grey her own team. And it's always been blue and gold, and then we get X-Men Red, and it's a Jean Grey led team with Laura, with Gabby, with Jean Grey, Storm, Namor, Gambit, someone else, a couple other people. But man, that lineup right there is like fantastic. Like,
I want to read that now. Yeah, I got it.
X-Men Red is good, dude. X-Men Red's good.
All right,
I'll take it. It's totally inconsequential now with what's going on with Hickman's run, but it was so good. Like, I was like, that was one series where I was just like, I was just so disappointed that it was getting cut. It was good because, like, friggin' Jean Grey goes to the UN. This is after Jean Grey's resurrection too. Like, this is good stuff. But
I'm gonna check it out. I mean, I don't care if it's inconsequential or not, because like, if it's good comics, it's good comics.
Yeah.
Like, continuity be damned. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely want to check that out. I think anybody listening, watching, dude, you have to check out All New Wolverine. You don't have to buy the Omnibus like we did, but if you do, you're gonna get your money's worth. If not, the trade, I think all the trades are still in print. I don't see
all the trades are still in print. It's still so popular. It's still so popular.
Yeah, so go pick it up. Read it, and then you too will be a stan for Tom Taylor, like Dylan and I are.
I talk Jonathan with us.
Yeah,
talk to us about Jonathan, and that's another thing that we don't get enough of. Like, where's Jonathan in Krakoa? Is Jonathan on Krakoa?
Well, where the fuck is Gabby too? Have we seen Gabby?
Gabby's with the New Mutants.
She is? Okay, so I stopped reading New Mutants after Hickman jumped off the book.
Well, Vita Ayala is writing it now, and they're doing a great job. Like, she's like, there's this whole debate. Like, I only read that first issue, the first Vita Ayala issue, and there's like, I don't know where it goes from here, but I hope it starts a debate on whether or not clones can be brought back to life, because they're technically not, original mutants. But then Laura gets brought back.
But
yeah.
but then again, is Laura really a full-on clone?
Yeah.
Because she has
but
a mom though, right?
yeah.
She has a mom.
But what about Gabby? What about Gabby? And then what about like Madeline Pryor?
But then we're just talking about souls, right? Like, do they have their own soul? Do clones not have a soul?
No, yeah, but this goes into the debate why Way of X is happening, because it's the religion. What kind of religion do you have if there's no finality of it all? Like this is why Hickman's run is so good. Like, that's why Hickman and everybody who's involved right now is doing such a great job.
I know. I'm really wondering what's going to happen moving forward when Hickman is done with Inferno. Like, is he done with X-Men altogether? Because, like he said, his next big Marvel thing, and he's not going to be spearheading the X-line anymore. So, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Marvel, like he said it, he wanted to get out of the first act of what he was doing, and Marvel wanted to kind of stay in that first act. They didn't want to push forward into like the second act of what Hickman had planned. So, and I was assuming like Ten of Swords was kind of like leading us to the midway point. That's what I thought. It'll be interesting to see. I will check out New Mutants. I didn't know Gabby was a part of that. I know that I'm loving what they've been doing with Laura. Like there's an issue with her and Darwin, and I believe Sync is his name, when they go into that fucking like that world and whatever, and Laura like, and they age there, and she develops this relationship with Sync, but then she doesn't make it out. So when they bring her back, she has no idea, like she doesn't remember the relationship because they brought her back without the experience of like going through that, right? So I mean, I want to see more Laura. I want to see more of Gabby. I think Laura should get her own book. I don't see why not. I feel like if they give fucking 10 Batman titles, why not have 2 Wolverine titles, right?
Yeah.
And it's Laura. It's not like she doesn't have to be called Wolverine, even though she is still called Wolverine in the books. Like you call it something else.
Yeah. No. I love like when Cyclops is like giving the whole rundown. She's like, Laura, like Wolverine. I am Wolverine.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I am Wolverine. And then Logan's like, you tell him, kid.
I know.
That's like one of my favorite lines. You tell him, kid.
Yeah, and like she should be in the Wolverine book, and she's like never in there. That's another thing where I'm like, at least have her pop up. You know, like she should be utilized more. Gabby should be utilized more. All the characters in this book are just awesome. I love that Doc and he's got a place, in the X line. They utilize him in a really cool way. I like what they've been doing with him. But yeah, I mean, the X-Men line is the best it's been in years. And for a long time, the only good X-Men related book was All New Wolverine. Looking back, if I would have been reading it at the time, I would have said it then. And that's why I'm saying it now, because from that era, I don't think there was much X-Men books that you could be like, oh yeah, that's really good, because they were really trash for a long time. And I think that this is a shining example of that era of, like Marvel was doing some really, really good stuff. And pick this book up, pick it up, and then go read some of the current X-Men stuff too, because that stuff is good as well.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got.
All right.
Other than I need more Jonathan. I just want to know what's going on with Jonathan.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's he at?
Will he get?
Can he get resurrected? Can he get resurrected? Will they resurrect Jonathan if he dies? They should. They should make the exception, because I think they're talking about it with Scarlet Witch. Like
Jonathan. Well, Jonathan's been shot in the head in this one, and he totally took it like a soldier. So I mean, can he die?
He's immortal? Immortal Wolverine. I think
immortal talking Wolverine?
I'm down with that. Okay, anyways. Anyways, go pick up the book. That's all we got. And if you're not already following us, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. Dylan at The Dillbot on Instagram. Dillbot is dope on Twitter. Like, follow, subscribe. Throw some comments down below. Let us know what your thoughts on the book are. And also hit the TeePublic link down below. You can get some Comic Lounge merch. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.